Here again, here I go. Oh, not as bad. Back at it again. I go by the name of Lord. And today we're going to get into 1792. Now I will say 1792, I believe, may have been the third or fourth bourbon that I purchased in my journey of collecting these bourbon whiskeys. I particularly remember, it wasn't this bottle, but it was probably one or two before this. I bought this, and this is the first time I had anything from the Barton Distillery. And what I kind of liked about this, what I remember, it was a little bit different than, I want to say at the time, I think the only thing I was really drinking was like Maker's Mark, just the wheated bourbon, and Knob Creek, which obviously proof point is a little hotter than both of these, plus age-wise as well. I did particularly remember enjoying small batch a lot. I remember making this with like old fashions and things like that. So as I guess my journey progressed, I end up, as you can tell in the background, collecting more, which, you know, I'll probably review them at a later date. Small batch, once again, was like the first one I got into, which I really enjoyed a lot. Don't judge me, I haven't opened this up yet. I still need to get into that one. The Bottle and Bond, as you see today, we're gonna cover this, that's why it's over here. The Sweet Wheat, which was a journey finding this bottle. Once again, I haven't opened this either. Most of my bottles, for the most part, are open, but there's some that I just haven't opened because I haven't got around to it, and I don't like having like a bunch of bottles open for no reason. Foolproof, I would say this is probably my third or fourth foolproof. I don't know. I would say, in my humble opinion, next to, you know, the Knob Creek store pick, that the foolproof 1792, especially if you find a store pick, crazy. Exceptional in old fashions or on the rocks. How like the 1792 does drink a bit hot, in my opinion. Not as hot as an Old Forester store pick. Those Old Forester store picks would burn a hole through your soul. And I believe it's from the youth. It's not necessarily the proof point, because I've drunk higher bourbons that drunk a little bit smoother at higher proof points, but they're a little older too. But 1792 foolproof, my favorite, obviously out of the bunch. And the 1792 12 year, which is not bad. Like I said, I have a few of these. I'm probably gonna end up crushing this, you know, with a friend or two after a while. I would say this much out of the Bartons, from Barton Distillery, and what they do make, or what they do source. Obviously, they make this themselves. But for source like Calumet Farms, I do prefer the Calumet 15, which I do remember enjoying that bottle a lot. The 16, from what I remember, had huge cherry notes, so I thought were cool. And the 14 wasn't bad, but the 15, from what I remember, was my favorite. I'm pretty sure if I dig that bottle out right here, right now, it'd be completely empty. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the bottle of today. Now, before I get into this, you know, it's Bottle and Bond. I'll do a whole nother episode where we're talking about Bottle and Bond. What is Bottle and Bond? But in short terms, Bottle and Bond basically means that it was aged for a minimum of 4 years in a federal bonded warehouse, which once again at a later date we'll get into that. But you can guarantee anything you go to the store in your spirit owl and you see anything that says Bottled and Bond, that means that you can guarantee that that's been aged for at least 4 years. Once again, we'll get into it at a later date. So yeah, so I really wanted to get into this one. As I was on my journey of building up my collection, I was just trying to not necessarily have the same things all over again, you know, through my collection. So as I started to, you know, experiment with different lines, I started noticing I was gravitating to certain things. Proof point being one. To age, you know, plays a lot of things like that. So what I found about this, from what I remember, it's been a while since I had this, was the nose. It was some bananas on there, which I love. For some strange reason, it's something about a banana note in bourbon that just drives me crazy. Not all bourbons have it, but some of them do, and I really enjoy it. The proof point isn't as bad. Like I said, with this one, I personally Haven't used it in old fashions or anything like that. But honestly, with this, I'll drink it straight. You could do it in the rocks, but like I said, sometimes this bottle is kind of hard to find. So when I do enjoy it, I personally like to just enjoy it straight up, because I notice if I put it on the rocks and if I'm in a good conversation, next thing you know, I'm pouring like another glass or two, and like, you know, it's a long night, so I just rather just drink this straight. So on the notes, I'm getting like a huge honeysuckle note. Like if you put honey on like a graham cracker, like the little graham cracker dipping sticks, you can do that. A little bit of raisin in it, not too crazy of a raisin note, but raisins in there. It's like a deep creme brulee in there. Oh my god, it smells so good. Oh my, and this was something I would say, if you want a little different variation starting your collection, it might be one I would seek out, only because if you are into showing your friends different bottles or different things, 9 times out of 10 your friend won't have this bottle in their collection unless they have like a crazy collection. That's it. So you can really introduce them to something different, you know. Let's get into the taste. Already the nose transfers with 100 proof point. It's already just like the flavors are absorbing. Definitely getting that caramel in it. That graham cracker, like I said, note with the honey is still predominant in there. A little bit of banana and less of, I would say, the creme brulee is on there. And I'm not really getting the raisins I got before. This is something like similar videos that I made before, that, you know, talking to a friend, catching up, something I would definitely would enjoy. I wouldn't necessarily consider this everyday pour, only because it is hard to find. And hell, if it is your everyday pour, the more the merrier. Price point, I would say, is pretty cool. Some stores you may go to, it may be a little marked up, only because it is a little harder to find. So I personally wouldn't pay above retail for this. Now they do have store picks, so store picks do variate, you know, between store to store, you know, so it depends on what group is picking it or which store that you like. This is something I personally wouldn't bunker, because you can find it. It is hard to find per se. Now, if I was to bunker anything from the lineup, I would definitely say the foolproof store picks are definitely worth bunkering. Once again, I wouldn't go above MSRP for that, but if you could find a few MSRP, they're worth bunkering. I wouldn't necessarily buy 6 of them, but if you can buy 2 to keep 2, even with the regular ones, buy 2, you know, do that. This is definitely a great bottle. Yeah. So that's pretty much my review on the 1792 bottle and bond. Let me hear in the comments, like, from you, what do you think about the 1792 series? Is it overrated or underrated? And then 2, do you prefer the Barton ones that they make themselves for 1792, or do you like the other spirit companies that outsource and, you know, do the, you know, non-distilling with Barton? So let me know. Like, subscribe if you like this, and like we say every time, cheers, salud, sante, Kobe, and all that jazz.